Good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to the All Saints YouTube Ilkley channel for our next quiz night. Now, I do know I've got some competition at the moment on a different channel, and obviously what Boris has to say is very important. So if you're catching up because you've listened to Boris first, don't worry. As long as you're not more than 10 minutes late, there's an interval a little bit time in a little while when you might be able to catch up. But it's great to see everyone here. We're back. The quiz night is back. The last time we did this was at the end of May, and here we are 5 months on, and we're still about to go back into lockdown. But never mind, in the midst of what actually is not always a great bit of news, we can still enjoy ourselves. So a very warm welcome to our quiz night this evening. Don't forget, there is also the live chat. You can let me know. I've got the live chat down here so I can see the comments that you're making. Do let us know where you are this evening. Do let us know where you are. I know there's a number of teams that are joining together from different parts of the country. So do let us know if you want to put comments in the live chat as we go along, then please do that. I can see them down there. Can't respond to all of them, but actually if you're able to, it'll be good to do that. There's also the WhatsApp virtual quiz group. The link to it was on the previous slide for the countdown video if you want to sign up for that. And if you want to send us a photograph of your team wherever you happen to be, then I've actually also got that down here as well. So please, it'll be good to see everybody who's there. Can I particularly say a warm welcome to Shirley and her family. Shirley's had a bit of a rough week, but I know that she's looking forward to being part of the quiz this evening. Shirley, it's great to hear your news. We're going to carry on praying for you, and I hope you enjoy the quiz. Hope you don't do too badly. I'm also hoping that Team Rudd, who are the reigning champions, are also participating this evening. Will they go 3 in a row and then have to find a prize that they can keep for all eternity? Who knows? Or are you going to overtake them? Well, let me tell you some of the rules. First of all, there will be 7 rounds of 8 questions each. 7 rounds of 8 questions each. And then there'll be 4 bonus questions to look at during the interval, which means a total score out of 60. So make sure you can keep your running score. You mark your own papers, you keep your own score. No Googling the answers, because that wouldn't be fair. And also, as I'm sure you know, we are raising money for Food Bank. Here in Ilkley, there is a link underneath the screen to how you can give directly to the Ilkley Food Bank GoFundMe page. If you're willing to do that, I know how much they appreciate your support and your donations. But if you're not in Ilkley, then by all means go to some of the other links underneath and you'll find an opportunity to find out the nearest food bank to where you happen to be. So if you can give generously to support food banks, which because of all that we're hearing and all that we're going through, and I'm sure because of the result of some of the things that Boris is saying on the other channel, then you'll be able to be supportive of them, and that'll be really, really important. Now, as you can tell, we've upgraded our technology for this quiz night. It's no longer the slight over the shoulder to the TV screen. I'm using a new bit of software, which means that all the questions can appear in photo form, and you can see them behind me. Don't worry, when it comes to the quiz rounds, my camera picture will get smaller and the quiz will get larger, so you can see for yourself. But what that means is that it's going to be very difficult to go through each question over and over again. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds per question, 30 seconds to look at each question, but I won't be able to go back over the questions at the end of the round. Hope that makes sense. Hope you understand that. Do keep the comments coming in. Do keep the chats coming in. Good to see that the Wilsons are here. Fantastic. I know that Freddie's watching from British Columbia. I know that Sonia's watching from Leonards-on-Sea. I know that Jeanette's down in Weymouth. I know there are various teams that are joining together from across the country. That's just fantastic. So it's great to have everybody here. Now, as I said, we're going to go on to our first round. Now, it is All Saints Eve, which means tomorrow is All Saints Day. So a number of the rounds have got a link towards All Saints and All Hallows Eve and All Saints Eve and All Saints Day. You'll get it as you go along. Another thing to say, be kind to each other. Quiz nights can be a great source of frustration. The good news is the only way you can shout at me is by putting it in capitals on the live chat. Good to see the Rudds are actually here, looking confident, feeling confident. We'll have to see. So without any further ado, let's get on to the first of our quiz rounds for this evening. And the first of our quiz rounds is simply called All Saints. All Saints. All Saints Church, All Saints Eve, All Saints Day. I'm going to show you 8 pictures of people or things or places, all of which have a connection with saints. And all you have to do is work out what the connection is. Simple as that. I'll give you 30 seconds each question. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep talking for 30 seconds over every single quiz round. Here we go. Here's number one. Marks and Spencer. Marks and Spencer. What connection does Marks and Spencer's have with saints? Okay, give you a bit of a while, few seconds, looking over there. Good to see Emma and Carol in Burley and Wolfdale. Esther in Nottingham are joining us today. I've also just been given an update, because the other thing I'm keeping my eye on, and unfortunately I have to say I now realise that unfortunately, oh, that's a pity, never mind, such is life. Never mind. West Ham, my team have gone 2-1 down. Andrew, I feel your pain. Don't worry about it. Never mind. I'd have taken a point at the start. We may still get back there. Anyway, end of the first question. What's the first one for Marks and Spencer? Here's the second one. Jimmy Greaves. Jimmy Greaves. What connection does he have with Saints? What connection does he have with Saints? Saxton team are half listening to Boris. Just having a quick look. Is he still going strong? Yes, he's still going strong. I'm sure he's got a little screen on his podium. He's watching the quiz questions. He's probably trying to get some answers as we go along. So there we have. What connection does Jimmy Greaves have with Saints? Here's question number 3. The Cresta Run. The Cresta Run. What connection does the Cresta Run have with Saints? Now, I know a number of teams are on Zoom together, connecting over WhatsApp, so you'll be able to potentially converse together. Hopefully all the internet connection works out okay. I've actually got on the screen just down here, I've got my own live channel so I can see if I'm coming through. There is a 20-second delay, a bit of a 20-second delay on this, so don't worry about that. So there you go. Cresta Run. Here's number 4. This film from the 1980s, a classic example of the 1980s Brat Pack. You can see some of the names who starred in this film. So what's the connection? What's the connection with Saints for these particular people? Great to see. Debbie from Cape Town, South Africa, welcome. Team Robot down in Cambridge. Team Robot. Adam, in case you don't know, Adam's going to be our curate beginning next summer. So although he's in Cambridge now, he'll be up in Ilkley with Anne and Arthur. Great you're with us. Hope you can show some, I'm sure you'll get an idea for some of the questions. There may be some you have an idea about. Here we go. Question number 5. These two actors, what connection do they have with Saints? Now this is when people start to go, I know them. One's very obvious. Very sad to hear about the death of Sean Connery. I'm sure that means that all tomorrow there'll be some James Bond films on for you to watch. But mind you, they never seem to be off at the moment. But these two actors, what connection do they have with Saints? Oh, fantastic. Andrew, you're giving me an update here. That means I'm taking it. It's still 1-1. Fantastic. I'd have taken a point. There's never any lack of. West Ham don't know the meaning of not having hope. Think back to the Tottenham game a few weeks ago. Anyway, still 10 minutes to go. It all might go horribly wrong. Number 6. This man, Santa Claus. What connection does he have with Saints? What connection does he have with Saints? Any ideas? I'm sure there's always usually one person on your team who basically seems to have an idea. There's one person who's writing questions down. There's one person who's shouting, trying to get themselves heard. But this is one that's probably slightly more obvious. Number 7. This helmet. This sporting bit of equipment. What actually connection does this have with Saints? Let's get the right thing in it. There you go. This have with Saints. What connection? One more question to go in this first round of All Saints. As I said, I haven't got a chance to go back over all the questions. And I might if I get a chance. I'm hoping the whole of this will be wrapped up by about 8:30. We'll see how it goes. Here's the final question. This bottle. What connection does this have with Saints? Okay? So 8 questions so far. Because it's the first round, I'll go through all the questions very briefly, just in case you missed them. Number 1, Marks and Spencer. Number 2, Jimmy Greaves. Number 3, The Cresta Run. Number 4, That Film. Number 5, These Actors. Number 6, That Man. Number 7, This Piece of Football Equipment. Number 8, That Bottle. Okay, there you have 8 questions. I'll give you a few moments just to write down any answers. As I said, I haven't got the opportunity to go back through the questions again, but not a problem. Hopefully you've had enough time to look at them, and the fact there's photographs, it makes it easier in case you don't I mispronounce things or don't think things properly. So here we go. Let's go for the questions. This is answers of round number 1. Marks and Spencer's, what's the connection with Saints? The answer is the brand name used to be, might still be, St Michael. I always found that very interesting when I was young, going out shopping with my mum. St Michael, the brand name of Marks and Spencer's, certainly it used to be. Question number 2, Jimmy Greaves. Now this will take you back to the 1970s and 80s. If you were watching TV, ITV on a lunchtime, he was of course part of that well-known footballing double act, Saint and Greavesy. Ian St John and Jimmy Greaves. Saint and Greavesy. So there you go. Question number 2, Saint and Greavesy. Now I'm going to be a bit lenient. Basically, I trust you. If you didn't quite put the right combination of words down, then don't worry about it. As long I trust you to mark your own questions correctly. Number 3, the Cresta Run. The Cresta Run. The answer is it's in St Moritz. St Moritz in the Alps. I think it's the Swiss Alps. Never been there myself, so I don't know. But St Moritz, that's where the Cresta Run is. Apparently, if you've ever done the Cresta Run, put that in the live chat. It'd be interesting to see if anyone's had any experience of that. Question number 4. This film. Now, you may have seen this film. You may know the theme tune. It's often on any sort of 80s greatest hits radio. St Elmo's Fire. St Elmo's Fire is the name of the film, starring just about everybody who was anybody back in the 1980s. Emilio Estevez, Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, forgotten who he was, Debbie Moore, Judd Nelson, Andy McDowell, all of the other people there. St Elmo's Fire. Question number 5. These 2 actors, well, of course, that's Roger Moore and Ian Ogilvy, and they both played the Saints. There were other people who played the Saints in movies or short-lived revivals, but Roger Moore and Ian Ogilvy were the 2 main actors, as far as I'm aware, who became known for playing the Saints. Number 6, Father Christmas, Santa Claus. Well, of course, the original Father Christmas, the original Santa Claus, was St Nicholas. St Nicholas, that's the story, allegedly, where the actual, where Father Christmas is also connected with St Nicholas. Question number 7, this piece of sporting equipment. It represents a particular American football team, and that American football team is the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints. Not my American football team. My American football team is the Baltimore Ravens, because I went to visit some friends, some relatives who lived in Baltimore. Didn't go to the ground. Went to a baseball game for the Baltimore Orioles, but the Baltimore Ravens are my team. But the answer to this question is New Orleans Saints. And the final question in this round. This bottle, what connection does it have with Saints? Now, if you turned your head sideways and you looked at the initials YSL, you'd see, you can't quite see it too well, Yves Saint Laurent. Yves Saint Laurent is the company, the perfume designer, who made this, and other brands of perfume are available, obviously. So there you have it. 8 questions in the first round. Be very interesting to see how well you're doing. I won't do this after every round, but put up your score for your team after this first round. How many out of 8 did you get? How many out of 8 did you get? And I've just seen, unfortunately, that West Ham have gone behind again. Never mind, such is life. They still might get a point. There's still 5 minutes left. So basically, how many questions, what's your score out of 8 after this first round in our quiz this evening? I'll wait. There's a bit of a delay between the live chat and me speaking to you. So let's see how you're doing. 8 for the Carters, 6 out of 8 for the Wilsons, 7 out of 8 for the Saxtons. Okay, that's not too bad. Quite good scores there, quite high scores. Always good to see that. 8 just joining from Southampton. Don't worry, you can catch up. 8 out of 8 for one family. Fantastic. I've seen the score. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for reminding me. Don't gloat. Don't gloat. Doesn't become you. Anne reckoned 9, but we actually got 7. Never mind. So there we have it. So after round 1, we have most people who've admitted to their scores are quite high up. Most people who are not doing too badly. Let's move on to round number 2. Round number 2. There will be an interval after the 4th round. There'll be a 10-minute break. I've got a video to show you, and there'll be 4 bonus questions to just look at during the interval. But round number 2 is cake fails. Now, if you've been watching the Great British Bake Off, you'll know that the very first week, the showstopper was asking the bakers to make a cake that was a tribute to a famous personality, somebody they knew well, somebody who actually sort of they could recognise. And this was the one that Laura did. Laura, the girl from Essex, did for Freddie Mercury. Now, you could say it looks like various people. The yellow jacket probably gave it away. But Freddie Mercury. So I'm going to show you 8 cakes that were made supposedly to resemble something or somebody, a person, a character, and you've got to work out, can you guess which characters these cakes are supposed to represent? So here's number 1, this collection of cupcakes. Who is that collection of cupcakes supposed to be representing in cake form? You're right, Steve. I did once see Portsmouth play once, and they won as well. But Liverpool fans don't understand the pain. They're not true supporters anyway. They're just glory hunters, you see. Unlike us true fans, West Ham and Portsmouth fans. That's question number 1. Who does that cake represent? Here's question number 2. Who is this supposed to be in cake form? Who is this cake supposed to be in cake form? Any ideas? And again, some of these you have a good look at. Some of these you begin to think, do I get an idea about? Some of these, when you see the answers, you're thinking, that's nothing like them. But obviously, if they were exactly like them, that would make it very easy. So who do you think this person is in cake form supposed to represent? Okay, question number 3. Who is this supposed to be? This is someone's birthday cake. I'll be hugely offended if someone gave me this as a birthday cake, but it was a good try. I couldn't do any better, by the way. My cake would basically not look like anything except a mess. So who is this supposed to be in cake form? Any ideas? You might have to guess very carefully. You might have to try and get some opinions. You might have to take a vote on your team, because some of these are simply just, well, so difficult to work out. There's ones that come up and you get an idea. I think I know that. Well, sometimes you need to go with your gut feeling. Anyway, that's question number 3 of cake fails. Here's number 4. Who is this supposed to be? Now, I know that this is also Halloween, as well as being All Saints' Eve. And if this turned up at your door, you'd probably just give it anything to go away. But who is this supposed to be in cake form? What is this supposed to be representing in a cake form? This actually is someone's birthday cake. I'll be really annoyed if, as you see, when you see the answer, I know the answers, so I know what it's supposed to be, obviously. So have a look at that. This is question number 4. Who is this supposed to be in cake form? When you see the answer, you'll see, oh yeah. Sometimes a bit more difficult when you don't know the answer. That's the point of a quiz, I suppose. Question number 5. Who is this supposed to be? What is this supposed to be representing? I'll give you a clue. The colours are not correct, but the shape is. The colours aren't correct, but the shape is. So any ideas? Who is this supposed to be in cake form? As I worked out on the first round, I can quickly scroll back and go through them. So at the end of each round, you'll have about 1 or 2 seconds going back over every question. Just so if you've missed one, if you're not sure about one, you can pick it up later. So any ideas? Who is this? Number 5. Number 6. Who is this supposed to be in cake form? Who is this supposed to be in cake form? Sorry to hear that in round one, the Cloppy Cleavers only got 5. Having said that, others haven't owned up. So any got less than 5 might not be willing to be too so up front about it. Fantastic. And also Team RJ spread across Hitchin, Burton-on-Trent and Ilkley, a truly national team who are actually going there. Anyway, this is number 6. Who is that supposed to be? Number 7. Bit of a clue there if you look at what's actually on, because this really is, well, you'll see when you see the answer. Who's that supposed to be? Who is that supposed to be? There's part of it which is a clue, another part of it which really doesn't help you at all. But that's number 7 on our cake round. Who is it supposed to be? Any ideas? If you're on Zoom, I hope the technology is working for you, and I hope you're actually not shouting too much at the person who's writing down the answers. Anyway, question number 8. Question number 8. This is probably the best of the cakes. The one that you probably look at and think, I think I know who that is. Actually, it's probably of all the questions, this is the one that most looks like the person is supposed to look like. Who do you think that is? And again, in a few seconds, I'll go back over and show you each one again, just so in case you've missed anything, missed any question, you can pick it up as you go along. Okay, let me quickly scroll back through so you can see all of them from the beginning. Question number 1. Question number 2. Question number 3. Question number 4. Question number 5. Question number 6. Question number 7. And finally, question number 8. So that's round 2, cake fails. Give you a few moments just to have a debate with those around you if you've got any questions that you haven't quite worked out what the answers are. So you can write down your final one. At the end of this round, it'll be a mark out of 16. End of round 2. We've got 2 more rounds between now and the interval, which will come in a short while. And just for these last few minutes, I'm just going to check how you're getting on. So, let's go for the answers then. Question number 1. Who is this supposed to be? Father Christmas. Father Christmas. Not sure about the big orange eyes. Not quite sure what Father Christmas has been up to. But there you have Father Christmas. Question number 2. Now, this actually was really, I mean, they didn't put a lot of effort into this, but this is supposed to be Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is the person it's supposed to be. Now, they probably just did an eye, did some red lips and thought, that will do, I've had enough of that. Okay, so that's question number 2. Question number 3. Now, this is when it might have helped to have a younger person on your team, because that's supposed to be Elsa from Frozen. It's supposed to be Elsa from Frozen. So that's who it's supposed to be. Now you can see the hair, you can see the colours, yeah, but that's about it really. Question number 4. Who on earth was this supposed to be? Now, as I said, if you were the child getting this as your birthday cake, you'd probably have nightmares. But that's supposed to be Thomas the Tank Engine. Thomas the Tank Engine. That's who it's supposed to be. Thomas the Tank Engine. Question number 5. Who is that supposed to be? I said that the colours were wrong, but the shape was right. It's supposed to be Darth Vader. They obviously didn't have any black icing or black food colouring, but it's supposed to be Darth Vader. And when you look at it, you think, yeah, you can see what they were trying to get at, but again, it seems like it ran a bit at the end. Not so much sort of Dark Lord of the Universe, more type of flat cake, you see. Not lamb chop, that's right. Question number 6. Who is this supposed to be? Now, you can see the face, the dark hair, the red lips. There is supposed to be a pair of glasses. That is supposed to be Harry Potter. It's supposed to be Harry Potter. And again, you can see, well, yeah, you can see what they were getting at, but obviously they just lost the will to live halfway through the icing and they just gave up. Question number 7. Now, who is this supposed to be? There's a clue in the American flag on the lapel. So it gives you a clue it's probably an American politician. It's supposed to be Donald Trump. That's not the actual Donald Trump. I think that's a better version of a cake that was supposed to look like him. Mind you, it could be the real one. Who knows? But it's supposed to be, question 7 is supposed to be Donald Trump. No, number 6 wasn't Ed Sheeran, Richard. You'll be pleased to know. And finally, question number 8. Question number 8. Who was it? Of course, Her Majesty the Queen. That's who question number 8 was. It was the Queen. So there you have it. End of round 2. Mark out of 16. Just take a few moments, tot up your scores. Let's see how you're doing. 2 more rounds before the interval. So how are you doing? So again, put your questions up. Put the marks you've got so far from these first 2 rounds. If you've got top marks, you need to gloat about it. But don't be afraid to say if you've not that's 2 good marks, look upon it as a way of encouraging others in their particular quiz night quest this evening. Don't forget, we are raising money for the food banks around this country. The food bank in Ilkley, which is based in one of our church offices, which I know is being extra used and has been increasingly used over these last few weeks, and I suspect will be increasingly used over the coming weeks. So again, if you're able to donate towards food bank, there's a link towards the Ilkley Food Bank donation page, and if you live in a different part of the country, then please can you go on to one of those links. There's one for the Trussell Trust and one for independent food banks, and you can find the food bank nearest to you. And if you could support them financially or practically, I know how much they'll appreciate your donations. The Rudd family initially panicked but bailed out massively by Johnny and Sarah joining with Zoom. The dream team are back together. Okay, 12 for the Wilsons, 7 for the Rose, 10 for Hodgkin and War from Lancaster, 10 so far. Well done. That's found 14 so far. 14, 11 out of 16 for Adam and Anne down in Cambridge. Back to normal, 9. You're right, very funny though, no problem at all. Okay, and apparently Peter Rudd didn't get Thomas, but there you go. So here we go. Hodgson smashing it, 14 out of 16. The Rudds have competition this time round. And only 10 so far for the Porters. Don't worry, there's lots of opportunities. So let's move on to question number 3. Now, question number 3 is around about patron saints. It is All Saints Day tomorrow, and we'll be particularly marking that and reflecting on that a little bit in our service at 10:30, which is live streamed on the YouTube channel. But it's a question about patron saints. So how much do you know? No pictures for this one, but the questions are obviously there beside you. So I'll go back through them at the end. So all these questions have answers about patron saints. One actually has a particular question about an attribute of a patron saint. Let's see how you get on. Question number 1. Which saint is celebrated on Boxing Day? Which saint is celebrated on Boxing Day? Okay, maybe you think of a famous carol, or maybe you happen to know it anyway. But Boxing Day is actually also known as St. Day. So which saint is celebrated on Boxing Day? Nearly gave the answer there, but fortunately didn't. Question number 1, which saint is celebrated on Boxing Day? Question number 2, which saint slayed a dragon to gain his sainthood? Which saint slayed a dragon to gain his sainthood? For those of you on tenterhooks, West Ham lost 2-1 to Liverpool, but I gather both goals were offside. One was a dodgy penalty, one was clearly a biased referee, and but actually I'm quite pleased we didn't get thrashed. And West Ham, our policy every year for a West Ham fan, as long as there's 3 teams worse than we are, that's a good season. There you go. And we didn't have our main striker. Is that enough excuses for you? That'll do for me. Question number 2. Question number 3. Who is the patron saint of West Yorkshire? This is according to my infallible source of information, Wikipedia. Who is the patron saint of West Yorkshire, supposedly? Apparently there is one. Wikipedia says there is one, so it must be true. Who is the patron saint of West Yorkshire. I'm not a poor loser, Brian. I'm just a realist. I'm just a realist. When Liverpool get relegated, that's when we'll see how you really react. I'm a poor loser as well. Who's the patron saint of West Yorkshire? That's question number 3. Question number 4. Who is the patron saint of lovers and beekeepers? Who is the patron saint of lovers and beekeepers? A lot of these patron saints are patron saints of all sorts of different people. So St Christopher, the patron saint of travellers. St Luke, the patron saint of physicians. By the way, those aren't questions coming later in the round, in case you think I'm slipping in something just to sort of, give you a bit of a hint. But there's patron saints are often patron saints of more than one thing, even if the main thing they're patron saints of is the one that most people know them for. But that's question 4. Who's the patron saint of lovers and beekeepers? Not necessarily at the same time. Question number 5. Who is famous? Which patron saint is famous for casting snakes out of his country? Which patron saint is famous for casting snakes out of his country? It's always difficult writing quiz questions. You've got to get the balance right between those that are just really difficult and you have to think about, and those where people think, oh, hang on a second, I get that one. The best question is when people think they know it and they've got to get help to get it. It's not obvious. Can't get the balance right. One of the key things about being a question master is don't have contestants that can shout at you. Okay? I understand your pain, Richard, as a Sunderland supporter. Don't worry. But you understand what West Ham are going through. These Liverpool fans have no idea. Question number 6. Who is the patron saint? This could well be a West Ham question. Who is the patron saint of desperate cases and lost causes? Who is the patron saint of desperate cases and lost causes? Okay, the answer is not St West Ham United. But who is the patron saint of desperate cases and lost causes? Question number 6 in our patron saint round. Any ideas? Again, I think that if you do know your Anglican liturgical liturgy, this saint was celebrated just in the last few days. Question number 6, the patron saint of desperate cases and lost causes. Question number 7, who is the patron saint of tax collectors? The patron saint of tax collectors. I see Boris is still going strong. Clearly he wants to go through to the interval and he'll pick up in the second half of the quiz. Who is the patron saint of tax collectors? Now this final question is actually about one of the characteristics of a patron saint. Why is St Joseph of Cupertino the patron saint of astronauts? Yes, there is a patron saint of astronauts, but why is St Joseph of Cupertino the patron saint of astronauts? You have to think creatively for this one, because clearly when St Joseph of Cupertino lived, space travel was not something that was happening. So what characteristic do you think he might have had that would have caused people in the last century, when the space race began, to make him the patron saint of astronauts? As always, I'll just flick back through the questions so you can have a look and see if you've missed any. Question 1, which saint is celebrated on Boxing Day? Question 2, who slayed a dragon to gain his sainthood? Question 3, who is the patron saint of West Yorkshire? Question 4, who is the patron saint of lovers and beekeepers? Question 5, who is famous for casting snakes out of his country? Question 6, who's the patron saint of desperate cases and lost causes? Marks off if there's any West Ham related comments. Question number 7, who is the patron saint of tax collectors? Question number 8, why is St Joseph of Cupertino the patron saint of astronauts? Okay, give you just a few more seconds, just you can argue about or write down or just try and get that basic last question that's in the back of your head and you're trying to conjure it up from wherever it's actually been dormant for these past, never thinking you need to know all this knowledge about patron saints. Okay, here we go. Here are the answers. Which saint is celebrated on Boxing Day? Well, you think about good King Wenceslas last looked out on the feast of St. Stephen. Boxing Day is also known as St. Stephen's Day. So that's the patron saint celebrated on Boxing Day. Question number 2. Who slayed a dragon to gain his sainthood? The answer is St. George. St. George slayed a dragon, allegedly, to gain his sainthood. Question number 3. Who is the patron saint of West Yorkshire? Now, this is something, if you're shouting, and I give you the answer, this is just the answer I came across. And this is the one that seems to be the most popular saint of West Yorkshire. It is St. Wilfrid, apparently. St. Wilfrid is the patron saint of West Yorkshire. If you didn't know that, you do now. And if anybody can let me know why he might be the patron saint of West Yorkshire, I'll be fascinated to find out. Who is the patron saint of lovers and beekeepers? Who's the patron saint? Now, if when you saw this you thought, well, that's obvious the answer is, but then the beekeeper thing threw you, then remember what I said is that sometimes people are patron saints of more than one thing. The answer is St. Valentine. St. Valentine is the patron saint of lovers and also apparently the patron saint of beekeepers. Doubles up, has to sort of, earn his keep as a patron saint. Not quite sure how the two go together, but there you go. Question number 5. Who is famous for casting snakes out of his country? Who is famous for casting snakes out of his country? The answer is St. Patrick, out of Ireland. So the story goes. Casting all the snakes out. Question number 6. Who is the patron saint of desperate cases and lost causes? The patron saint, the answer is St. Jude. St. Jude celebrated his particular day was Wednesday last week, I think. But he's the patron saint of desperate cases and lost causes. Not sure how successful that makes him anyway. Who's the patron saint of tax collectors? The patron saint of tax collectors. Well, if you know your gospel stories, you'll know that actually Jesus called one of his disciples and he called him out of his job as a tax collector. The answer is St. Matthew. St. Matthew was a tax collector. Jesus called him to follow him, and he understandably, that's a more obvious one, the patron saint of tax collectors. Question number 8. Why is St. Joseph of Cupertino the patron saint of astronauts? I'll be fascinated if you put on the live chat some of the answers, even though there's a bit of a gap, a time delay, and you'll probably get the actual answer before I see them. I'll be fascinated to see some of the things you put up as to why St. Joseph of Cupertino is the patron saint of astronauts. The answer is, and I'll be a bit lenient about this one, if you get roughly somewhere that you could argue is the right answer, I'll give it to you. He could levitate, allegedly. Because he could levitate, that made him the patron saint of astronauts. That's why people chose him. Whoever chooses, I'm not sure if they have an apprentice style version of who's going to be a patron saint of a particular organisation. But St. Joseph of Cupertino was the patron saint of astronauts because he could levitate, allegedly. So there you have it, the end of round 3. So you should have a mark out of 24. Most people who were willing to put their marks up on the live chat, most people were telling us an astronomer and a stargazer studied the stars. That would make perfect sense, Sonia and the RJ team. So I don't write, well actually I do write these questions, but I don't put down the facts. Anyway, so let's put down your answers. How many out of 24 have you got? I want to see what the Ruds have got, so you can see the mark, the level you're trying to beat. See how you're doing. So your mark out of 24 after round 3. One more round before the interval after this next round, obviously. And then there'll be some bonus questions for you to look at during the interval. And then there'll be 3 final rounds after the interval itself. So anyway. Oh, 6. Okay. Might be an astronomer. 19 out of 24 for Team Greenfield. 17 for the Carters, 15, 14, 18 for Smilers. So from the people who are willing to put their scores up, I think, does that mean you've got 21 out of 24 so far? 17 for Adam and his team down in Cambridge. Okay, so if I've understood Peter's message on the live chat, they've got 21 out of 24, so they're still the front runners. You see, still the front runners. 22 for the road team. Okay, not too bad at all. 15 for the Browns, 15 for the Blythes. There's still plenty of time to go. Let's go on to round number 4. Lights of the world. Lights of the world. Now, when I looked out just now, the sky was cloudless, which means that if you happen to be up in a space station and you were looking down on the Earth, you get some fantastic views of cities or parts of the world at night. Well, over the last 20, 30 years, the people on the space station have taken some brilliant photographs of the Earth at night time. And I'm going to show you 8 photos taken from the International Space Station of cities or places in the world at night time. And what you have to work out is, where is it? Now, to make it slightly easier, each photograph, if you look at it carefully, and I will give you 30 seconds per photograph, each photograph has a distinguishing, well-known feature of that city or that place, which if you look at it carefully, you should be able to get a clue as to where it is. Because obviously, a city at night, how could you possibly see what it is? But look carefully at each of the photographs, you'll see a significant clue, because one of the key features that this particular city or place is known for is actually there in the photo. You'll see what I mean as I go along. Here's question number 1. Where is this photograph taken at night from the International Space Station? Obviously with powerful magnifying lenses. But where is this? Where is this? 13 for the Crossleys. Keep going, Peter. Be like West Ham. 12, not 22. Max, you could have gone for 22. But keep going anyway. Okay. And the Rudds have got 21, I can confirm. If anyone got more than 21 or equal to 21, do put it on there. We've got to put some pressure on the Rudds. But anyway, there's question number 1. Where is that in the world? Question number 2. Now, it's also important to say that these photographs aren't always orientated with north at the top. They're not always orientated with north at the top. And typically, if there's a dark space, that often can mean it's a body of water. A couple of clues there for you. So here's question number 2. Where is this in the world? And again, look carefully, and there is a feature of this particular place for which it is actually famous. Question number 2 in Lights of the World. Give you a few more seconds to look at that one. Question number, and I will go back through and I'll give you a little bit more time on the going back through at the end of the quiz, because this is probably the quiz where you need to look hardest at the photo. Question number 3. Where in the world is this? And again, as I said, the distinguishing feature of this particular place is there in the photograph. But remember, these photographs aren't always orientated to the north. And if there's a dark space, that often, not always, but often means there's a body of water that's there. So where is this in the world? Question number 3 in our Lights of the World, round number 4. And after this, we'll have a break. I've got a video to show you before we do that, and then there'll be an interval. Question number 4. Where is this? Famous city landscape. Where is this? And again, if you look carefully, you can see something there that indicates where this might be. Something it's famous for. Where is this in the world? Number 4 in our Lights of the World quiz round. Have a good look. I'm sure some of you are getting really close to the screen trying to see it. Hopefully these photographs are high definition enough for you to see them. Question number 5. Where in the world is this? This is probably one of the harder ones, but when you look carefully, there's something right there which should give you a big clue as to where this might be. This is where someone's going, I know that. Haven't you been there? Haven't you been? Didn't you actually go up in the sky and look down at it at night with the lights on? Why didn't you do that? You did everything else in that city. But where is this? Question number 5 in our Lights of the World quiz. Question number 6. Now, look carefully. Say what you see. Notice what's there. What's the clearest, most obvious feature? And then think, where could that be? Where could somewhere be in the world with something as really obvious and as distinctive as that? And again, I know the answer, so it does seem obvious to me, and it might be you'll kick yourself if you don't get this one right. But where could that be? Now, the 6 questions we've had so far have been of particular places. The last 2 questions are of a slightly bigger part of the world, but you'll understand when you look, hopefully. So that's question number 6. And again, I will go back through these at the end of the round and give a few more seconds for each one in case you've missed any. Question number 7. This is a slightly bigger canvas, but where in the world is this? Now, there's a number of answers I'll accept for this. There's a main answer, but there's a number of answers. But because it's a bigger place, then obviously there's a lot of places, a lot of answers I'll accept for this one. So whereabouts in the world is this one? Question number 7 in our Lights of the World round. And finally, question number 8. Now, this photograph's a bit blurry, but again, it's actually quite a good one. Question number 8. Where in the world is this? Now, again, you look at it and you think, that's odd. But think carefully, think laterally, think, where could be a place where they could take a photograph like this? And then you might get an idea where it might be. Question number 8 in our Lights of the World round. So just a few more seconds, and then I'll go back to the start and then cycle through, just giving you a few more seconds. So let me go back to the beginning of the round, and I'll give you about 5 seconds to look at each one. So this is question number 1. Question number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Question number 5. Number 6. All those so far have been specific places. The last 2 are a much bigger sort of a canvas, if you like. Number 7. And finally, question number 8. So there we have our Lights of the World round. Give you a few moments just to write down your final answers, and then we'll go through. And some of these, when you know the answers, you'll think, of course it's there. Of course it's there. Actually, some of these questions would be far more difficult to do if it was daylight. They're actually much easier to do at night time. So question number 1. Whereabouts is this? Of course, the defining feature is the river running through, includes that well-known, the greatest football ground, Upton Park, with the second greatest football ground, the London Stadium. It is London, the River Thames flowing through the middle. This is one of those pictures where North is at the top. But question number 1 is London. Question number 2. Now, the defining feature is that thin white line in the middle connecting up two different land masses. It is, of course, a very long bridge. It is the Golden Gate Bridge because that is San Francisco. That is San Francisco, the Bay Area. And that long, thin line in the middle is one of the bridges. I think it's the Bay Area Bridge or the Golden Gate Bridge. One of them anyway. Question number 3. The defining feature is that round shape just off the coast. Well-known palm-shaped hotel, that is Dubai. Now, I do realise that Dubai is known by a few names and you could have a different thing. So basically, if you know that that's what you meant, I'll let you have it. Dubai. Dubai is actually... Max, is that the London pick you're on? Gosh, you see, well, my mum's probably on there somewhere as well. That's question 3. Question number 4. Now, this isn't focusing north, but actually, if you look carefully, the classic shape of the various islands and that bright shape in the middle is Manhattan, because this is New York City. New York City. If you turned it round, I think you'd have to turn it round, well, quite a bit. 90, 180 degrees, probably not quite as much as 180 degrees. That will be north, as far as I think. But that is New York City, is question number 4. Could be Blackpool, that's true. Could be Blackpool, but isn't. Question number 5. Where is this? Now, the distinguishing feature is the river through the middle, where east meets west. Istanbul. Istanbul is question number 5. Istanbul. Question number 6. Now, again, I think this is really, when you know it, you know it. Okay, so where is this? This is a city, grid-like layout, with a really, really bright focal point right at the very middle. Now, where could possibly have somewhere that so much is focused on one strip? The answer is Las Vegas. That is a picture of Las Vegas with the strip, the Las Vegas strip, right there in the middle. So the answer to number 6 is Las Vegas. Not Blackpool, not Hastings, not Ilkley, Las Vegas. Question number 7. This is not a city. This is a part of the world. What you can see is the River Nile running down from north to south, which means that the answer, the main answer, is Egypt. But if you put down the River Nile or Cairo or Alexandria or the Middle East, well, Middle East is probably a bit too wide, but you know what I mean. But if you've got something that actually could be, Egypt's the main answer, but doesn't have to be. It can be one of the others that's actually there. And finally, question number 8. Now, you might look at that and think, remember what I said, that often if there's a dark space, it often indicates a body of water. This is not one of those situations. That is a landmass. And yes, it is a part of the world where there's very few lights on, because it is North Korea. That is the Korean peninsula. South Korea is obviously just in the bottom right-hand corner. And the dark bits between South Korea and China is North Korea. No lights, little electricity. So that's the end. So that's the end of round 4. We've got to the midpoint. So again, I'll be interested to know your scores at this midway point in our quiz. Should be out of 32. A score out of 32. While you're totting up your scores, I'm going to show you a video. As I said earlier, we are raising money. We're doing the quiz night to raise money for food banks, the Ilkley food bank, or a food bank near to where you are. And I think at this particular time, food banks are always important. But over these last few months, over these last week or so, and I'm sure over the coming weeks and months, food banks will become even more important. And I'm going to show you a short video. Now, this is a food bank, a story from a food bank in the last few weeks down in Surrey. It's not from Ilkley, but actually it could be a story of any food bank. So I'm going to show you this video, a video of the life of some stories, some people who work in this particular food bank, just to remind ourselves about how important food banks are.
If we put those to the side, well, we can use the milk.
We have upscaled fivefold. So we're now shifting 10 tonnes of food a week. And in the first week, I was getting messages saying, we're hungry, how can we get hold of you? How can we get a bag of food? In the first week. Until I started doing this, I had no idea. No idea. These are hidden people. You know, and the people that go to food banks generally are double income, low wage earners, and one's lost a job and they go to the food bank. It is just appalling. I have found it extraordinarily emotional. I'm in tears most days about this, and that was before COVID.
Hiya, more bananas.
Oh, bless you, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. There's things in here that I've never tasted in my life. Oh, they're lovely. Oh, my goodness. I know that there's old people that are not, they're on their own. Or they may be a couple, but they're still struggling. It's sad.
Prior to lockdown, Fairshare were delivering about 1 million meals a week to vulnerable people, and that's gone up to over 2 million meals a week now. So the volume across the whole network has doubled. So in the southeast, we've seen triple the amount of inquiries from charities that want to receive food, and only double the amount of food has come through. We've had to start buying food to meet the demand, which is different to our normal operation. Normally we deal with surplus food, but the demand is such we're having to buy food. What we want is the government to give us the money to subsidise the farmers to get the food that would otherwise go to waste out to the charities.
So there you have it, something that reminds us why food banks are so important. And I know that the food bank in Ilkley is seeing increasing numbers of people who are asking to make use of it. So if you can donate either to the Ilkley Food Bank using the link underneath, or you can actually, if you're in Ilkley, you can put food donations, I know, at Tesco's and Boo's and some of the co-ops. And if you don't live in Ilkley, then please do make a donation and support the food bank closest to where you are. We're going to have a short interval now, and during the interval what you're going to see are there going to be 4 bonus questions. 4 bonus questions, because I worked out at the end of 8 rounds, 7 rounds of 8 questions, that's 56. I like a nice round number. So there's 4 bonus questions for you to contemplate over the next 8 minutes of our interval, all to do with US presidents. Basically thinking about the president since 1970. There are 4 statements to the truth of 4 different presidents. Can you work out which is which? Have an interval. I'll see you back in about 8 minutes' time. Welcome back. I hope you had a good interval. I was just catching up on the big news of what happened during the first hour of the quiz about how West Ham were robbed by clearly an offside goal, but it was a spirited performance. And also the stuff that Boris was saying. Just for those of you who are at All Saints Ilkley, obviously we will need to get some advice sent to us by the diocese about what's going to happen, what the plans are for the next few weeks are going to affect church life, and we'll let you know what those changes are, if there are any, how we're going to respond, and what we can do in the coming weeks. We'll let you have those as soon as we've got any information to pass on to you. Well, just as we come back to part 2 of the quiz, I have to say that the leaders so far, from those who put their scores up on the live chat, are the Greenfields with 27. 27 the Greenfields have. So therefore 27 out of 32, unless anyone has got more than 27. And can I just say to Steve in Portsmouth, I do agree, question number 4 could have been Newark or New Jersey. I understand that. I was a bit lenient. So if you want to up your mark by 1, if you didn't put down New York but something similar, I'd understand that. Now obviously during the interval, I had these 4 questions for you. As you know, the US presidential election is on Tuesday, and it's a question of which US president in the last 50 years were these 4 things true about. The answers are: Gerald Ford could have played in the NFL. He apparently turned down offers from the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. He might have had those offers before it was officially the NFL, but he could have played American football. Ronald Reagan starred in a film so violent it was banned from TV. Apparently it was the last film he made and he was the villain. And it was so violent it went straight to cinema, didn't make it onto the TV at that particular time. Barack Obama apparently doesn't like coffee or ice cream. The ice cream comes from when his first job was in Baskin Robbins, an ice cream store in America. He developed a lifelong hatred of ice cream. And who had a long-distance cycle race named after him? Way before he was anywhere near the presidency, there was once somewhere called the Tour de Trump. Tour de Trump. That was the America's answer to the Tour de France. It soon got renamed as something else, but Donald Trump had a long-distance cycle race named after him, which means at the beginning of the second half of our quiz, you have a mark out of 36. A mark out of 36 is your running score. So let's, without any further ado. Now, I came to the conclusion that what we really needed in this quiz was a round of high culture, a round that would really appeal to those people who have very highbrow understanding and knowledge in their leisure time, in the things that they watch. So I thought round 5 is the round of high culture. So this is the round which is called Which Crisp Is This? Which crisp is this? I will show you a picture of a crisp outside, not in its packet, and you, by your extensive knowledge of crisps, have got to work out which crisp is it. Don't worry, I'm not making it hard for you. You don't have to work out the flavour, just the brand name of the crisp. Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Which crisp is this? Which crisp? Now, some people in your team are going, fantastic, this is my round. Others are saying, what? But which crisp is this? Just go with the flow. Which crisp is this? Question number 1 in round 5. In case anyone's clearly staring very closely at it, or anyone who's rushing to their food cupboard, getting all the crisps they've got to have them out on the table, so just in case they're spotted. Question number 2. Which crisp is this? A bit of a blast from the past, but some of you may remember it from years gone by. Which crisp is this? Which crisp is this? Update is that the Greenfield families up to 28. The Carters are at 26 out of, so we'll see how we're getting on. This which crisp is this round might sort out everyone. Question number 3. Close up. Which crisp is this? You're thinking that's way too close up, but look carefully. You can see a distinct design that, if you know your crisps well, will give it away. So which crisp is that? Hopefully it's not making you feel hungry. If you remember the last quiz we did, we had chocolate bars. And I nearly, because I forgot we did that one last time, you nearly had the same round again. And at the last moment, I thought, hang on, we've done this one. So I went on to crisps instead. Which crisp is this one? Number 3. Question number 4. In case you've been really despairing at your lack of knowledge of crisps, which crisp is this? Question number 4 in our which crisp is this round. You didn't think you'd be spending Saturday night sitting in front of your telly trying to work out what crisp it was by looking at the shape of it. But there you go. These are unusual times. Question number 5. Which crisp is this? Had some of these this week, actually. Special offer in the supermarket that I went to. Which crisp is this? Of course, there are lots of other brands of crisps available, apart from the ones I'm showing you. There may be some you're eating right now. What a coincidence that will be if you happen to be eating a crisp when it appears on the screen as well. That means if you don't get that question right, you'll be exiled from your team. Question number 5. Question number 6. Which crisp is this? Now, you might think that looks remarkably similar to number 1, but actually it's very different from number 1. Which crisp is this? I will go back quickly through all of the questions at the end of this round. So which crisp is this? Fascinating to know whether this is something where somebody in your team has come into their own and they're storming it for you, or whether you're all sitting there thinking, we should eat more crisps. Actually, you should eat very healthy food as well. Question number 7. This really is another blast from the past. You could say not technically a crisp, but it is served. It was served in a crisp packet and was often found in the crisp aisle. But which crisp was this? Technically a bit more biscuity than crispy, but you'll see when we get there. Look at the shapes. What do they tell you? Question number 7. Which crisp is this? And finally, question number 8. Some of you have just gone back to your childhood and the packed lunches that your parents used to make you when you saw this crisp. Which crisp is this? Number 8. Let me just go back through them quickly so you can see. I'll just have a few seconds on each one. Number 1. Which crisp is this? Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. And number 8. In answer to Pete's question, am I on a retainer? Am I sponsored? No, I'm not. But you wait till the next round, which is all about shapes of communion wafers. Not really. So here we go. Question number 5. Some people really getting into this round. Question number 1. Which crisp is this? The answer is it's Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. It is Pringle. And you can tell by the container, it is the original flavour. No extra points for that. That would be a hard round. Guess the flavour of the crisp. Question number 2. Now this is a blast from the past. You look at the shape of the crisp and you think that looks like a bit like an alien mask. That's because it is Space Raiders. Space Raiders. You either knew it or you didn't. If you happen to remember Space Raiders when you were growing up, put a comment in the live chat. Space Raiders is number 2. Number 3, a close-up crisp. I have to say, these are some of my favourite crisps if I can find them on special offer. They are Skips, allegedly prawn cocktail flavour, although I'm sure prawns might be upset by the flavour that are in the Skips. But Skips, and apparently this have 50% less saturated fat to make us feel slightly better about this round. Question number 4, probably the most obvious one, is of course hula hoops. Hula hoops is number 4. Question number 5, close up. And if you think that's far too close up, but look carefully and you should get a clue. If you don't know your crisps, doesn't matter what's on the screen. But it is in fact Quavers. Quavers had some this week, very nice special offer in a supermarket that I won't advertise because I might be accused of being on a retainer. Morrison's. Here we go. Question number 5 was Quavers. Number 6. Now you look at that, and actually probably that's one of the harder questions because it is kettle chips. It is in fact kettle chips. that particular baked version. Now, of course, I think it's obvious, but I set the questions, so I should know. Question number 7. Now, this again is also a hard one, technically more biscuity than actually sort of crispy, but this was fish and chips. Fish and chips. Some of the biscuit things were shaped as fish, some were shaped as chips. So together they make fish and chips. And again, you either remember them or you didn't. You may have had them in your lunchbox when you were younger. And finally, question number 8, iconic crisps. The shape, the image, the advertising, they are, of course, Monster Munch. Monster Munch. I think they're supposed to be like Monster Paws. Monster Munch was question number 8. So again, you should now have a mark out of 44. Your mark out of 44. 2 more rounds to go to see how well you're doing. So if you want to put your score out of 44 up on the live chat, then we'll find out who, as we come into these final 2 rounds, who are the front runners, who are bringing up the rear, who are the nearly there, who's in contention, who's made the cut. Well, everyone's made the cut, but you know what I mean. So far, the winning score, I think the Greenfields seem to be surging ahead. Well, when I say surging, 1 or 2 marks ahead of everyone else. But let's see how you're doing. You can eye up the competition. If you were actually in a quiz night where we're all in the same room, you'll be looking across the room, seeing if you could spot who looked clever. Who do you think was on their phone? Who do you think you thought, no chance, they're going to win by a mile? Okay. 33 for Team TJ. 33 from the Rudd. Oh, 33 from the Rudds. They're coming back up again. 32 for the Essex Rudds. 26. 30 out of 44. 24.5 for Max. Sorry about that, Max, you see. Okay, 29. Some people got 8 out of 8. You really know your crisps, okay? 27. It seems to be 33. Seems to be the score. 34 for the Carters. Storming into the lead. 31 for the Porters, okay? Lots of people doing really well. Let's move on to the next round. Trick or truth? Trick or truth? Because some rounds you need to try and give people a chance. Now, this is a 50-50 round. I'm going to show you a photograph, and it's either a true photograph or it's a trick photograph. It's either a photograph that's been photoshopped or it's a real photograph that you might think has been photoshopped. So this really is a random round, unless you happen to have been on the same websites that I've been on in preparation for this particular round. Trick or truth? Simple 50-50 choice. If you haven't got a clue, take a vote, and then you can argue about the person who got it wrong for you at the end of the round. Question number 1. Is this a trick photo or is it a true photo? A storm gathering, a massive storm gathering over New York City. Good job it wasn't there when the photograph was taken with space. That would have been a really difficult question. Trick or truth? Number 1. Apparently the Wilson family should have listened to Matt Wilson. He knows his crisps. Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Question number 2. A camera crew running from a bear in the distance. Is it a trick photo or is it a true photo? Apparently I got a letter through the door saying that over the next few days there's going to be a film crew filming for, I don't know if it's a film or TV series, up on the Cow and Calf, and they're taking over the Cow and Calf car park and the car park at Ilkley Lido. So look around, you may see somebody famous. Having said that, didn't say who was in it, but that's what's going to happen in case you're seeing film crews. Is this a trick or truth? Don't think this will happen up on Ilkley Moor unless it's a real surprise. Is this a trick photo or a true photo? Number 3. Is this trick or is it truth? Trick or truth? This photograph of what seems to be luminescent sea on the shore. Is it a trick photo or is it a true photo? Question, I'll go back through these at the end of the round as with all the others. Question number 4. A man standing on the underside board of a yacht. Is it a true photo or is it a trick photo? What do you think? No clues for the Hugo Boss. That's obvious. That actually might give you a clue thinking about it. But is it a trick photo or is it a true photo? Number 4. Question number 5. Blue watermelon. Blue watermelon. All sort of things are possible. Is this a trick photo or is it a true photo? Trick or truth? What do you think it is for number 5? If anyone actually said, I've had that somewhere, I remember seeing that somewhere, might give you a clue. Who knows? Is it trick? Is it truth? Question number 6. Is this a true photo or a trick photo? Yachts that seem to be floating in midair. Is it a real or is it photoshopped? What do you think? Take your vote. Hands up. Assuming you've got an even number. Or not, if you've got an even number in your team, that could even make it more difficult. Who gets the casting vote if there's an even number in your team? You might want to put that in the live chat just to make sure that everyone knows who ultimately has the final say. Question number 7. A large sinkhole in the middle of a city. Is it a trick photo or is it a true photo? Trick or truth? What do you reckon? And finally, question number 8. Cat, half black, half ginger. Trick or truth? Is it a trick photo or is it a true photo? Now, these are 50-50. So if you don't know the answer and you can't agree upon it, the person with the casting vote says trick or truth. I'll just go through all 8 of them just so you can have a chance to see them one more time. So the storm over New York, trick or truth? The camera crew running away from a grizzly bear in the background, trick or truth? The luminescent seashore, trick or truth? The man standing on the underside board of the Hugo Boss yacht, is it trick or is it truth? Question number 5, the blue watermelon, is it trick or is it truth? Question number 6, the yachts floating in midair, is it trick or is it truth? Number 7, the giant sinkhole in the middle of a city, true photo or trick photo? And finally, the cat with half ginger, half black face, is it trick or is it truth? Last chance for you just to work out which side of the trick or truth if you don't know the answer, but this really is a random round to give everyone a chance to get back up their marks. If in doubt, just guess. Here we go. Trick or truth? Storm over New York is a trick photo. It's a Photoshop of 2 photos together. Didn't really happen, not as it appears. Question number 2, the camera crew running from the grizzly bear, an unexpected scene in their film, is a trick photo. Again, 2 photos that have been put together. Not sure whether the photograph of the guys running is genuine or whether it's made up. Not sure about that. Question number 3, the luminescent seashore. Is it trick or is it true? It's a true photo. Apparently that is certain type of algae that actually is like ultraviolet, and therefore as the sun's just gone down, as you can see it's just gone down, they are this sort of colour somewhere in the South Pacific. Question number 4, the man standing on the underside of the Hugo Boss yacht. Trick or truth? It's a true photo. It's a stunt man for a scene from a film. It's not actually literally standing there. It's actually a true photo, but it's obviously made up in a sense that he's not genuinely standing. He's genuinely standing there, but there's all sorts of things to keep him there. But it actually is a real photo. Question number 5, the blue watermelon. Trick or truth? The answer is, of course it's a trick. Who would want to eat blue watermelon? Having said that, you could probably think of some people who would. But it is a trick photo, I think done with food dye. Question number 6, the yachts floating in the bay. The answer is, it's a true photo. I think this is a Greek island where the sea is so clear that actually what you're seeing is the reflections of the boat on the seabed. It looks like they're floating, but actually it's just because the water is so clear. It's a true photo. Question number 7, the sinkhole in the middle of the city. It is a true photo. Unbelievably, it's true. I think this is in Guatemala City. A sinkhole opened up How frightened would you be if you came out your front door and saw that there? It's a true photo. And finally, question number 8. The cat with the half ginger and the half black, different colour eyes. Now, the answer's obvious. It's actually a true photo. It's a true photo according to the particular website I went onto to get the source material for this round. This is a genuine cat. And they did explain, and I was going to print off and get the explanation for you, but I forgot to do it. But apparently it is a true photo. So there you go. Random round. This will set us up for the last round. So you should now have a mark out of 52. A mark out of 52. So if you want to put down the marks you've got coming into the final round, the last, accelerating down the final home straight, who's going to claim the title? Will the Rudds keep it? Will someone else take it away from them? Who is going to take on board? And as we come to the final round, don't forget, we are raising money for food banks, Ilkley Food Bank. The link is underneath here. And also, if you don't live in Ilkley, then you can find links to find food banks closest to you in either of the links that are underneath. So please do give generously. And if there is an opportunity to give practically, as I said, I know in Ilkley at Tesco's and at Booth Supermarket and at some of the co-ops, there is a place that you can actually buy stuff and donate it there and then. That's also a really good way. One of the things we're hoping to do in the coming weeks at All Saints is to publicise what the food bank is in need of, particularly so that people can buy, buy what they actually need at that particular moment. So we're going to liaise with the food bank to see how they're doing. Scores are coming in. Okay, 39 from 39 from Team RJ, 38 from the Rudds, 42 from the Greenfields, and it's a Chimera cat. Thank you, Adam. I really appreciate that. Just to prove I'm not making it up. 34, 36, 37, 38. So the Greenfields are on 42. According to what I see here, they're 4 points in the lead. They are romping home. Lorimer's on 34. The Greenfield family seem to be, but are they going to trip over at the last moment? Are they going to do a Tottenham Hotspur in the last 10 minutes of the game against West Ham? Are they going to get to the end in the lead, or are they going to actually break up? So let's find out. The final round, the traditional lyric round. This time, these are lyrics, but they're all lyrics or words from TV theme songs of TV shows. So this is going to test your knowledge of TV theme tunes. Most of them are sung, some are spoken, but they're all associated with a well-known, well, you may not think they're well-known, some of them, TV show. So let's see how you're doing. 28 and a half, 38, still the Greenfields on 42. Here's question number 1. Mr. Brown goes off to town on the 8:21, but he comes home each evening and he's ready with his gun. Mr. Brown goes off to town on the 8:21, but he comes home each evening and he's ready with his gun. Which TV show is that from the theme tune of? Start off with an easy one. That implies they're going to get harder. I'll let you be the judge of that. So that's question number 1. Mr. Brown goes off to town on the 8:21, but he comes home each evening and he's ready with his gun. Question number 2. The sky is still blue. The clouds come and go. Yet something is different. Are we falling in love? The sky is still blue. The clouds come and go. Yet something is different. Are we falling in love? It's a much slower song. That's the only clue I'll give you. It's a much slower tempo to this particular theme tune. Sky is still blue. The clouds come and go. Yet something is different. Are we falling in love? Number 3. Everybody knows his bright red van. All his friends will smile as he waves to greet them. Everybody knows his bright red van, and all his friends will smile as he waves to greet them. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing any of these. In fact, I'm going to try and say them out of tempo to make it slightly more difficult for you. But I promise I won't sing. Everybody knows his bright red van. All his friends will smile as he waves to greet them. In case you're wondering what the messages retracted are from Dave Mills, that's my son-in-law who's a Tottenham fan, who made the big mistake of gloating when Tottenham were 3-0 up and then had to retract all of that gloating when there was that fantastic comeback by West Ham in the last 10 minutes. And I can only imagine the retracted messages. I suspect my daughter, Nina, has told him to not be so rude. Number 4. So what becomes of you, my love, when they have finally stripped you of the handbags and the glad rags that your granddad had to sweat so you could buy? What becomes of you, my love, when they have finally stripped you of the handbags and the glad rags that your granddad had to sweat so you could buy? There's no such thing as a low dig at Spurs, Dave. Spurs do it all by themselves. So what becomes of you, my love, when they have finally stripped you of the handbags and the glad rags that your granddad had to sweat so you could buy? That's number 4. Question number 5. You're still in bed at 10, but work began at 8. You burned your breakfast. So far, things are going great. You're still in bed at 10, and work began at 8. You've burned your breakfast. So far, things are going great. I know Brian Greenfield would identify that's often the life of a vicar. You're still in bed at 10 and work began at 8. You burned your breakfast. So far, things are going great. Question number 5. Which TV show is that from the theme tune of? Question number 6. Now, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. Now, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. Now, you're thinking that's an odd place to finish it. That's because if I went any further, I'll give the clue, I'll give the answer. This is a story about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. Question number 6. Question number 7. Always there. Your love is always there. No sea could ever divide the love we share. It's always there, clear as the morning air, as sure as winds keep blowing. Love will be always there. Now, if you look at the words carefully, there are some clues that can help narrow down the particular theme, the particular setting of this TV show. Always there, your love is always there. No sea could ever divide the love we share. It's always there, clear as the morning air, as sure as winds keep blowing. Love will be always there. Question number, and the final question in the quiz tonight. It's 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations. It's 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations. For the last time, let me quickly go through these 8 questions just in case you missed anything. I won't read them out, so you can read them for yourself. Mr. Brown goes off to town, etc., etc. Sky's still blue, the clouds come and go, etc., etc. Everybody knows his bright red van, etc. So what becomes of you, my love, etc. You're still in bed at 10. Work began at 8. You burned your breakfast. Now go and take a service. Number 6. This is a story about all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. I'd like to take a minute. Just sit right there. Question number 7. Always there, etc., etc. Always there. And number 8. It's 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds. So, last few moments for you to go through, write down, argue about what could be what. This is the last. This is gonna, can anyone overtake the Greenfields in this final furlong? Here we go. Number 1, Mr. Brown goes off to town on the 8:21, but he comes home each evening and he's ready with his gun. Who do you think? You are kidding. Mr. Hitler. Dad's army is number 1. Dad's army is number 1. Question number 2. The sky is still blue. The clouds come and go. Yet something is different. Are we falling in love? I suspect you either know it or you don't. This was a cult TV series, Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks, a very slow, very melancholy, very dreamy-like song very in keeping with the TV show. Didn't watch it myself personally, but I know plenty of people who loved it. But Twin Peaks is number 2. Number 3, everybody knows his bright red van. All his friends will smile as he waves to greet them. If you've ever had children and you've had to get up early in the morning with them, you should know this. Postman Pat. Postman Pat. And his black and white cat. Number 3, Postman Pat. Question number 4. So what becomes of you, my love, when they have finally stripped you of the handbags and the glad rags that your granddad had to sweat so you could buy? Interestingly, this was actually an existing song that they adopted for this particular TV series, The Office. Handbags and Glad Rags by Stereophonics, although the version for the TV show wasn't sung by them. But The Office is the answer to number 4. Number 5, you're still in bed at 10 and work began at 8. You burned your breakfast. So far, things are going great. General Synod, no, not really, friends. Which could be another word for Vickers. Friends. You're still in bed at 10 and work began at 8. You burned your breakfast. So far, things are going great. It's from Friends. That's number 6. Number 5, rather. Number 6. Now, this is a story. Now, when you were doing this, you probably sang the line that goes after. This is a story all about how my life got turned upside down. I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. The answer is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tell the story about the Prince of Bel-Air. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is number 6. Number 7, always there. Your love is always there. No sea could ever divide the love we share. Always there, clear as the morning air. As sure as winds keep blowing, love will be always there. Bit of a nautical theme there. Bit of a sea, bit of a wind. The reason I included this one is I used to live just up the road from where they filmed it when I was briefly on placement down in Southampton. Howard's Way. Howard's Way. From the 1970s, 80s. Howard's Way. I think it actually became a hit in the charts as well. How granddad, hit in the charts. How granddaddy do I sound? And finally, question number 8. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life, new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Star Trek, the original Star Trek. Not that I'm going to take points off. Star Trek will do. But actually in later Star Treks, its continuing mission became, instead it was replaced, its 5-year mission. So there we have it. We're at the end of the quiz. Your marks out of 60. What we need to find out now is who are the champions? Who is romped away with the title? Who has claimed that crown, that coveted crown that Boris, I'm sure, would love to have at this particular moment? Who is the quiz champions for this latest edition of the All Saints, All Comers, All Saints Eve quiz? So we're looking for your marks to come up on the screen. Feel free to put whatever the marks are. Not just the high ones, but the low ones as well, because it's great to get everyone involved. Hopefully the questions. 38 from the Saxtons. 46 currently in the lead from Liz Gerard. So 46. 40 from the Wilsons. 35.5 from Sonia and Steve down in Leonard's on Sea. Okay, so still 46. 41. 42 from the Greenfields. 48 from the Greenfields. They are in the lead. The Friends question is wrong. I'm sure it isn't, but never mind. It's not Vickers, is it? 38 for us. So 42 from, 48 from the Greenfields. Wooden Spoon for 30. 43 from the RJs. 42, unlucky Kate. 36, Steve. Steve, you do have to stay in a bit more from Thursday. 45 from the Carters. Still 48 for the Greenfields. They seem to be the winners. 45, 40. Unless there's any further takers, I'll give a few more minutes. 27 from Emma, okay, 40, still 48 from the Greenfield family, who've already claimed victory because of those 3 sort of fanfare emojis. I think 27 from the Woolofs, well done. 37, 27, Sonia, we could have got less. Jen, oh, thank you, Jen and Adam in Essex. I come from Romford originally. You can probably tell by my accent. 38 from Team Roebuck, 43 from Fiona D, still 48 for the Greenfield. So therefore, unless somebody puts a score higher than 48 in the next few minutes, I declare the Greenfields are the winners of this edition of the All Saints quiz. So much as I hate to applaud a team that's just beaten my team, I must be gracious. Well done to the Greenfield family. Thank you so much for taking part this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please don't forget to give generously. The link to the food bank for Ilkley is underneath this. It will also be on the final screen. And if you don't live in Ilkley, then do give generously, either financially or practically, to the food bank nearest to where you are. If you're from All Saints, if you're part of the All Saints online or actual church family, I look forward to seeing you at 10:30 tomorrow morning. And the likelihood is I'll do another version of this quiz nearer to Christmas. Let's see how things go. See if the Greenfields have a chance to defend their title or someone else can take it away from them. So thanks ever so much for taking part. Have a great rest of the evening and I'll see you again soon. Please give generously to the food bank.